All right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Nique, and you're tuned in to Nique at Night. And we're going to be going into the latest cash grab and all of the updates in the Nolan Wells case. Now, if you guys have been following me on my Instagram, then you know that we have been going hard on this new update, and I'm going to be giving you guys my opinions about it. Now, some of you guys who, like I said, are on my Instagram, you already seen how I feel and what is given, but we're going to dig a little deeper and go in depth. Now, if you guys have been following this story, we have been covering heavily the story of Nolan Wells. He unfortunately lost his life on the 4th of July. He was left on the island behind with no phone, no keys, and his so-called best friends left him on the island where he ended up dead. Now, after he ended up dead, his mother was left with no answers. She got a random call at around 11 p.m. that night from one of the so-called best friends who did not call the lady that they said that he was last with. They jumped straight to calling his mom, skipping over the girl that he was left last with, and jumped straight from calling the mom to the Coast Guard. Now, in the midst of the mom trying to figure out answers, she had to track down her son's phone using Life 360 and Snapchat to where she was able to hunt it down, send one of her friends over to retrieve it, and it took about 15 minutes, according to her friend, to get the phone. And when they went over there, the friend who went to retrieve the phone said that things were a little suspicious. Now, you would think when they handed over the phone, they would also hand over the car keys as well, because they were in possession of both. However, the next day after that, Nolan Wells' father had to go and retrieve his keys. Okay, so there has been a lot of moving parts in this case, and the mother is searching for answers. They have no explanation as to why her son is deceased. Nobody on the island seen anything. Immediately, once the son was found by the Coast Guards or whoever found him, the sheriff deputy, before an autopsy, before an actual investigation, jumped to there being no foul play and no suspicion. Now, that in addition to all of the other suspicious things, raised a lot of eyebrows with Nolan Wells' mother, and she retained counsel from Ben Crump. Now, in their mission to get answers, their only question has been, what happened to Nolan Wells? Now, in their quest to search for answers, they have said that he went out with this group of friends. The group of friends came back. He did not. He ended up dead. They did not. And they have been diligent in their search for answers. Now, from all of the videos and the press conferences and all of the updates, I have yet to see them specifically name any of the friends or say that they murdered him. I haven't seen them specifically say that, but they are curious as to what happened. Now, in this quest, there has been a lot of people, trying to find answers themselves. Mississippi has a history of calling Black deaths like that are suspicious, not like labeling them as no foul play, not getting to the bottom of it. They have a history of racism, etc. So many people don't trust them at all. So people started to do their own investigations, trying to find the bottom of the matter to help this grieving family get some answers. Now, in the quest of them searching for answers, there were several Black celebrities and activists who decided to put up money to find out if there's anybody that can lead to any questions or any answers that would result in justice for Nolan Wells. And Tyler Perry said that he'd put up 50,000. Al Sharpton said that he would put up 50,000. Terrell Owens said that he would put up $25,000, and it was all for answers and information that would lead to justice for Nolan Wells. Now, we are always the blueprint, right? Like whatever we say, you know that that Fat Man Scoop song. Whatever I say, y'all gotta do. Whatever I say, y'all gotta do. We're the blueprint, right? So whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever, it's always a copycat situation happening. So there was a copycat offer from Warren's father of $50,000. So his father came forward, and Warren is one of the boys who last was with Nolan before he was mysteriously left and deceased. And so after many people found several contradictions in the curated interview that he did with Batum Tatum, people were like, okay, this is supposed to be your best friend. You love him so much. He's your buddy, but you have zero emotion. You never answer any question directly. You're always dancing around the question. There's so many cuts and edits and transitions that shows that this interview is heavily edited, heavily curated. So it made people question him even more and question the fact that if this is really your friend, and your best friend, as you characterize him, why are you unemotional? Not crying, because everybody doesn't cry, but at no point do you get upset that you didn't go to his funeral. At no point do you get choked up on the fact that people would even accuse you of such. At no point do you even question what happened yourself. Because if this is my best friend and they mysteriously died, and I know I didn't do it, my question would be who and what and how and what really happened. You didn't ask not a single question or even act like you were curious as to how, who, what, and why, since it's not you. And because you are his best friend, that was very odd that you didn't even want answers, or in this curated PR stunt of what it, that's what it looked like, a PR stunt to me. You didn't even seem like you cared about what happened to him. You just cared about letting people know that, oh, it wasn't me. Everybody leaves their phone on the island. Everybody, and it's like, first of all, I mean, everybody leaves their phone on the boat. Sorry. Everybody leaves their phone on the boat, blah, 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 blah. It's like, we know that you leave the phone on the boat if you're getting in the water. What we want to know is why his phone wasn't transferred to the boat that he was going to come up with. Okay? Like, if he was going to come back in a separate boat, why did his phone not transfer from one boat to the other? And if you guys were going to put out this heavily edited, curated interview, and you were going to show us proof that he went with you guys on the island of what we already knew, wouldn't it have been better to show us you guys arriving to the dock instead of when you left? Because the accusation is we don't know what happened once you were on the island and who you came back with. Now, they have released a 5-second video, okay? And their proof that they didn't do absolutely anything was this 5-second video. Now, we know that they called Cito and the call lasted for approximately 8 minutes from WLOX, but the video that is going to prove without a shadow of a doubt doesn't show metadata, doesn't show when it was taken. It's definitely not the length of a call. It does not show a boat actively being towed, but this is supposed to be the proof that Nolan Wells was not on the boat when they left, when we have nothing to corroborate it with, right? So they release that. They then offer this bogus $50,000 after activists and actors offer a reward for information. Then the father, he offers his measly $50,000. And you're like, okay, well, their whole thing is Crump is a grifter, right? That's the narrative from the right-wing conservative people that they go to. Crump is a grifter. He's only here for the money. So I'm thinking, okay, so they trying to show that they're the opposite, right? We know that they're wealthy. We know that they have money. And they're trying to show us that, listen, we're not in it for the money. So I thought that's what they were saying. And then not even a week later, then they jump in for the big cash grab. Now, that is my opinion, and I don't give a damn. There is also, right, so I put up a post, and I said that I feel like this is a cash grab, okay? First of all, the lawyer of Bart, he already said he offering his services free of charge, and they are already wealthy. Then you claim that oh, Crump is trying to grift money, and oh, he's in it for the money. Then the first thing you do is create a fund with a goal of $100,000. We'll see that increase, right? It's 100,000 now. By next week, the goal will be 200,000, and so on and so forth. It will constantly go up. They always claim that, oh, these people, they have these GoFundMes, right? And with their GoFundMe accounts, they're trying to always raise money and always watch the money go up watch the goal go up as the money go up. Now, in my post of me talking about this GiveSendGo, I had people tagging the lawyer for Bart in it as if they're telling on me or something. Let me let you know something. The Black community is sick and tired of racist, conservative bigots. They are tired of, and I'm not saying that Bart or anybody is a racist bigot, but the climate that we are in, we are tired of people shaping certain narratives for certain individuals and having a completely different narrative for anybody that looks like me or people that come from my culture. We are sick and tired of every single time there is a Black death, you guys try to go out of your way to smear the victim and go on this smear campaign. We are sick and tired of the way that the news media goes out of their way to slander victims' families at all costs. And we are sick and tired of what you guys are doing, period. So being that we are off the heels of Rick Chow, off the heels of Carmelo Anthony, off the heels of Daniel Irving, off the heels of Nolan Wells, we are not going silent. So you can tag whichever lawyer you want. My goal is to operate my platform with integrity. I will continue to offer my platform or operate with integrity. But what I'm not going to do is hold back on my opinions. And if y'all want to sue, then baby, this is the only time that I don't give a fuck. Okay? Now, I have been on this platform for over 8 years consistently, right? I put my first video on YouTube in, I think, 2006. And then I created a commentary channel in 2008. I have videos welcoming Barack Obama as president. I have videos that go back as far as 2008, me doing commentary before. And there's other people in this space who have much larger platforms than me, but doing it a lot less of a time than me. But before some of y'all faves, I did this shit before them. Okay? And what I've always done was give my opinion, period. Okay, so you guys can tag Russell, you can tag whoever, but we're not backing down on coverage. We're not shying away from giving our opinions. And until we see the autopsy from the medical examiner, and until we see that this was a proper investigation and there was not special treatment because one of the boys is the stepson of a judge, then we're going to keep talking about this story, period. But one thing that y'all need to do as an audience is support us as well, because the racists is they're gonna band together, period. Okay, them conservatives is going to band together, period. Okay, baby, GiveSendGo, I want to know what they are valued at. Okay, because they clocking $1 million funds like it ain't nothing. Okay, now with that being said, let's get into my post, but I just had to say that before we get started, because I don't know who, like, what, and I've been there's been several times on my channel when I've gotten into like beefs with other creators, and I'm like, child, I'm not opening up no lawsuit. I'm not wasting money on no lawyer. But to stand up to people who feel like they're gonna sun us or keep playing in our face, that's something that I child, is worth it for me, period. So let's get into some of these updates and let me walk you through some of what is going on. Sorry for the long disclaimer, but I wanted to go over some of that first because I've seen people tagging the people, and I said, baby, are you telling on me? What are we doing? Are you telling on me? Like, huh? Like, what? What's that? Like, what? But anyways, my Cash App is below if you guys want to support, because baby, it's giving, child, we all need to band together. Now, let me show y'all what I posted over on my Instagram. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, if you can't go to Bella Noches, then where can you go? Where can you go? Definitely follow me over there on Instagram, because we talked about this on Instagram first. So this is my Instagram right here. And let's go over the material. All right, material, girl. All right, so let's go over the material. Let me scoot over here and let me break this down for y'all in the back. So this post right here is what I posted, and this is how I feel, period. Okay, disgusting. You call yourself a friend and you don't even set up something to memorialize your best friend. You set up a fund that you don't even list. Mind you, they have it set up where it says that their law firm is going to collect the money, but it does not specify that let's say they raise $1 million and their legal fund is only $100,000, right? The rest of that money, it does not stipulate, hey, we're only going to, use your money for da 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 da, and then we'll release the rest of the funds. No, where is the money gonna go? Where's the rest of? Because this fund is gonna reach up to. They're gonna make sure that this matches at least equivalent to or more than Nolan Wells' mom. So anything that exceeds what is necessary for their litigation, where is the rest of the money going to go? I want to know. But anyways, so this is what I posted, and I said, Nolan Wells' so-called friends use his death for a cash grab and starts a give, send, go. Now, I don't know if you guys know about give, send, go, and I don't know if Warren Hudson, his father or family are MAGA right-wing racists, but this is straight out of the neo-Nazi racist playbook, okay? And again, I don't know if they are racist. They did have a black friend after all. He seemed like a tag-along token by the way that Warren described him. Oh, he would always try to come with us. Oh, he would always try our friend group, and it would always be like Nolan was the add-on. So if you guys know anything about Give, Send, Go, and you're probably wondering, well, why did they go to Give, Send, Go? Well, if you guys have been on social media and you have been seeing the current climate, to me, all of this is a message, right? And let me tell you why. I believe that going to a black right-wing podcaster who is a clear bootlicker conservative that will do anything to curate and protect the identity of these individuals. And because he is a right-wing MAGA, I believe that that was a message to a particular crowd, right? Now, I also believe getting a Give, Send, Go was also a strategic plan to go for a particular crowd. Now, if you guys have been looking at how the Give, Send, Go platform is characterized, and I'm going to pull up the actual fundraiser in a minute, let's look at some of the articles about this platform. All right. So if you look here, and I turned off JavaScript because these platforms be playing games. So let me put myself up here. So this is CNN website. All right. So this is CNN website right here. Actually, let me see. Let me move myself over. Let me go to the middle. Okay. Let's go over here. All right. Update. Okay, cool. All right. So let's read through CNN's description of, who supports Give, Send, Go. Not my words. This is an article all the way back in 2021. So it says, sorry, I always get tongue-tied when I get riled up. All right. Right-wing extremists and their supporters use Christian website to raise funds. All right. So it says, before Proud Boys members Nique was arrested and charged in connection with the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, he raised $300 on Christian-oriented website Give, Send, Go to help him get him to D.C. Following his arrest, a supporter turned to Give, Send, Go to raise money for his legal defense, a campaign that has garnered nearly $20,000 for the member. The campaigns for him weren't the only controversial causes on the site. A CNN review found more than 24 fundraisers related to protesting the outcome of the presidential election, raising travel funds to attend the January 6th protest in Washington, and other right-wing causes. Among the campaigns and their beneficiaries, Ali Alexander, a Stop the Steal organizer, who raised money for a security and administrative team, as of today has reached 75% of his $40K goal. And then it goes on to say how Friends and family of Enrique Tarrio, the leader of the Proud Boys, have raised more than 113,000 for his legal defense on GiveSendGo. Tarrio was arrested 2 days before the insurrection at the Capitol and charged with destruction of property for burning a Black Lives Matter banner after a protest in December with possessing high-capacity firearm magazines. Jim Hoff, founder of the conservative news outlet Gateway Punt, is currently the beneficiary of 2 campaigns on GiveSendGo, totaling more than $135K, intended to fund an investigation into alleged voter fraud in Michigan and to take on the tech giant censorship of conservative voices. At least 5 other campaigns that collectively raised nearly 200K are tied to self-described Proud Boy members. Now, as you can see, it is a place for them to go. Now, on here it says a Christian crowdfunding site has a white power problem. Now, this is an article from the Rolling Stone. I turned off JavaScript so that we can get into the nitty-gritty, but let's read an article that the Rolling Stone published August 22nd, 2023. A Christian crowdfunding site has a white power problem. Okay? GiveSendGo bills itself as the Christian alternative to GoFundMe, a platform committed to sharing the hope of Jesus through crowdfunding. In addition to typical crowdfunding campaigns for medical bills and memorial funds, the site has a right-wing political edge. GiveSendGo is the preferred platform of alleged co-conspirators in Donald Trump's attempt to subvert the 2020 election. Attorneys Jeffrey Clark, Jenna Ellis, and John Eastman all have legal defense fundraisers on the site. But the GiveSendGo platform is also a hit with white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Rolling Stone has discovered nearly a dozen active white supremacist fundraisers on GiveSendGo. Beneficiaries of these campaigns include some of the Beneficiaries of these campaigns include some of the nation's most notorious neo-Nazis, among them leaders of groups like Defense League and NSC 131, Blood Tribe. One campaign seeks to counter the hegemony on their denigrated as a hostile alien people use. These campaigns are hiding in plain sight, and the crowds they attract are even more brazen in their hate. Donors have adopted usernames that are racial slurs, including the N-word, or that spoof the names of Nazi leaders like Hitler and Himmler. Others leave coded messages of hate like "Oh, Hitler" and all these other things, or references to the teen words, a bleak supremacist motto about securing a future for white children. Others mash these up with telegraphic combo. It says GiveSendGo did not respond to questions from Rolling Stone about these campaigns, which have raised collectively tens of thousands of dollars. The platform's terms of service, they basically allow this. So let's go to the last article that I will read. So this article is on a site called The Nation, okay? And so as you see right here, it says crowdfunding hate in the name of Christ. Right-wing extremists have found a safe haven on GiveSendGo, the #1 free Christian crowdfunding site. All right? It says, and this was published April 19th and the 26th of 2021 issue. It says, when I asked Heather Wilson and Jacob Wells The founders of GiveSendGo, the number one free Christian crowdfunding site, whether they would host a fundraising campaign for the call goes dead for a few seconds. Some of these campaigns are situational, Wells finally offered. It would depend on what they're raising money for, Wilson said. The pair are siblings in their 40s, just two in a family of 12 children who grew up in Salem along with their sister. And they founded GiveSendGo in 2014 because, as a 2017 blog post put it, GoFundMe has taken a stance against Christians and has been taking down campaigns that they did not agree with. The idea, Wells said, was not to run a profitable business, but to create a community where both givers and receivers can be inspired by the hope of Jesus on the site's clean, spare interface. The Share Now button is supplemented with a Pray Now button, allowing users to offer their devotions with a click. On GiveSendGo, where the most valuable currency is God's love, Kyle Rittenhouse, the alleged murderer of two Black Lives Matter protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, netted almost $600,000 to pay his legal fees. A few months later, a page for Proud Boys chairman Enrique Tarrio raised more than $113K. After his arrest en route to Washington, D.C. with high capacity magazines 2 days before the Capitol riot. And also to note, this Enrique Tarrio guy is the one that the redhead, pigeon-toed, greasy-haired bitch had come to the Carmelo Anthony courthouse, and she had post laughing about his attendance there, and he was also in attendance to, never mind, I'll leave those two other legal matters. Anyways, so, but yes, this person was there at the Carmelo Anthony situation. So anyways, it says money greases the wheel for whatever you want to do, Wells told me. There are only a few crowdfunding sites that specifically target Christians, and GiveSendGo is the top platform that surfaces when one Googles Christian crowdfunding. All right, so they're allowed to be as racist as possible. Also, this is the site that allowed that Shiloh woman to raise almost $1 million after calling that Black boy the N-word. All right, so right here is Shiloh Sanders, or Shiloh, whatever the fuck her name is, Hendricks, I think. All right, so this is Shiloh Hendricks right here, and this is all of their go-tos. If you ever see a white supremacist with a funding, they all have GiveSendGo, all of them. So what they do is antagonize, and I'm not talking about Warren and his crew. I'm talking about, in general, the playbook that I've seen is they create a problem, they do something this, and then they run to create a GiveSendGo where they frame themselves as a victim, and fellow sis, they come in droves to fund it, right? So anytime that a white person has an issue and a Black person is on the other side of it, they get top dollar, okay? They get the highest bidding. So I believe that it's strategic, the reason why they chose this platform, because it sends a particular message. Their crowd already knows that this is the go-to. They already know, hey, this is a signal that we support, and it shows something without saying something, if you get what I mean, okay? And this is a conclusion that I've come to from seeing people like Shiloh Hendricks, Enrique and Tario, the greasy haired, red haired girl, all of the other people who have these ideas and these rhetorics that they put, and how they all play themselves to be the victim after they, for the most part, again, I'm specifically talking about in general, they create these problems, they do something racist, they antagonize people, instigate, and then they run to this fund, and then it signals to a particular crowd to get behind them, and they raise almost millions. Okay, this woman called a black boy the N-word, and they went and lined her pockets up. Now, this is the same fund that Nolan Wells' so-called friends decided to create, and you can look at what they are saying in the fund. Now, again, I'm not saying that they're MAGA, that they're racist, that they are right-wing conservatives, and they have these same ideas. What I'm saying is it seems like a signal to get a specific crowd to support. Now, just because they're getting a specific crowd to support doesn't mean that they're racist, right? It doesn't mean that they are right wing, but they are appealing to a particular crowd, especially in some of the things that they're saying. Okay, they, according to Warren, they have all of these friends that are other black boys. They have all of these friends that they have a whole Mexican. Remember, he did the interview. Him and Tristan said, "Oh, we got a Mexican friend, and we got a black friend." They are very strategic in how this is put together. Again, that's my opinion, and this is from the pattern recognition that I'm looking at from all of these other situations. Okay, you see no black friends, GiveSendGo, or this is what I observe. So when I click on it, okay, his targeted friends, right? Isn't Tristan, the black boy, a part of this targeted group, right? Didn't he go to Batum Tatum to say that he's also being targeted, right? Like he's also a part of the crew. I'm like, damn, they left the black boy off of there, right? Because why? They don't even list Tristan in the description. Why? They specifically use GiveSendGo. Why? Now, I don't have the answers. I'm just a person just looking at pattern recognition and observing this fund and thinking, wow. So let's continue to go through it. So as you can see, it is GiveSendGo, and they are saying, stand with Nolan Wells, targeted friends. And it's them and in the water, and the boat, okay, the boat that was the center of some of this looks like it's off to the left. And then to the right, it says their goal is 100,000. They have raised 84,000 so far since yesterday, and it was created by Benjamin Hudson. Now, it says the fundraiser will be received by Taylor and Cox law firm, and it has all of these people that have supported it. Now, if you go down further, it has where the donations can be filtered by the most recent donations or the top donations, right? So yesterday, the top donation was from Katie, all right? So this donation just happened today, but yesterday when I observed the top donation when the fund was first started out the gate was from Katie, right? So a lot of people, when they're like, wait, Katie gave $5,000? Like, what? I believe this is another strategy in their game, okay? And again, this is my opinion, but it looks like a strategy to me. You conveniently have a top donor. You started off with 5,000, right? The person that donates name is Katie. You specifically leave off the last name so that people would find out that Katie is the name of Warren's biological mother. But most people wouldn't know that, right? Most people wouldn't know that Warren's biological mother name is Katie. Now, the only reason that I know that Warren's biological mother's name is Katie is because Katie reached out to a blogger on July 6th when Nolan Wells' body was discovered. Okay? So, a guy on Facebook had been posting about this tragedy, and Katie, Warren's biological mother, reached out to him and she explained everything that happened on the island. And she felt like the guy was not accurately depicting her son. Okay. But I believe that they made this play where they started the fund with 5,000 so that it legitimizes it, right? Because when people first see a fund, and if it starts out with $0, people will be skeptical, like, is this real? Is it legit? You know what I mean? But if you start it with a large amount, then it legitimizes it to me. Okay. And you started out with 5,000, and then Katie is the top donor that slaps 5,000 down. Somebody in the comment says, why would they not just do it anonymously? Because it's strategic. The girl in question that Nolan was last with, name is Katie. That's the whole point, is the majority people don't know that Warren's mother's name is Katie. So by saying Katie, it makes it look like even the girl who Nolan was supposedly last with is endorsing it, right? It leaves that question of which Katie? Is it the Katie? Like, it's strategy to me. So that's why it's not anonymous, because you wouldn't speculate on an anonymous gift of which Katie, you know? So let me go here to refresh your memory. And some unwelcome people are in the chat. Hi. I know that, you don't like the likes of people like me, and we make you uncomfortable, and all of those things. But somebody said that I'm ignorant because I didn't know that Carmelo Anthony had a GiveSendGo. He had a GiveSendGo, and didn't they take his fund down but leave all the other remittance up? Anyways, never mind. Let's go on. So, and I'm not saying that my opinion is fact. This is just me looking at pattern recognition, looking at how things are, and looking at the climate that we're in. That's just what it looks like to me. Now, moving on. They're obsessed, child. Like, they're literally obsessed. They can't help it. So anyways, so as you can see here, this is Katie, and we've shared this because it was made public on Facebook. I'm not the first person to share her name. I'm not the first person to show these receipts. This was a DM that she sent somebody on July 6th, before Warren did an interview, before he made any public statements, before even the stepmother, Judge Ashley Cole, made statements. this Katie Hudson Seymour came into the DM of a person on Facebook. And let me show you guys the timestamp so that you guys can see when this was sent as we go through it. All right, so as you can see right here, this was posted by Boogie Low Down. And Boogie Low Down posted this on July 6th at 8:35 a.m. So prior to Nolan Wells having any type of facts, people saying anything about the case, this was posted onto Facebook before we knew anything specific about anything. He says, Warren Hudson's mother, Katie Hudson Seymour, reached out to me on 7/5/26 around 11:30 p.m. And this is what she had to say about her son, Nolan, and his friend Wyatt regarding to the incident at Horn Island. So he posted it to Facebook so that people can see who she was, show that she is who she says she is, and give people a timestamp so that they know when and how this came about. So, as you can see, Katie Hudson Seymour is Warren's mom, and we're going to read through everything that she had to say, and then we're going to go further. So, as you see here, it says, "Good evening, Mr. Rolldown. I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I'm here to tell you that we all, I'm here to tell you that we all, Nolan, are deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him. The boat that Nolan was supposed to get on, Wyatt boat, he repeatedly asked Nolan to get on the boat at 5 when it was, and let's go to the next one. And mind you, this was before Warren did an interview, before Ashley Cole had made a statement. This is what was posted to this particular blogger. He repeatedly asked Nolan to get on boat at 5. Now she's saying, okay, she's saying that he told him to get on the boat at 5. They're saying, well, actually, when Warren did the interview, he says, well, actually, I laid eyes on him at 3, and then my buddy told him to get on the boat at 4:30. But this is what the mom said. So, and this was right after it happened, exactly after, right, like the next day. She said he repeatedly asked Nolan to get on boat at 5 when it was time to leave, but Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. So remember when Batum Tatum did his interview with Warren, he specifically said, how many people heard that? This is a point that they wanted everybody to know. And that's why in Batum Tatum's interview, he said, well, how many people heard that? Well, as you can see, this is his mom the day after he came out missing and deceased. She's like, they asked him to get on the boat, and several people heard that, right? It's like the interview is just, anyways, let's continue. So it says, Wyatt asked him several times to please get on the boat, and people heard him. My son loves him and would never in 1,000,000 years leave him. Warren does not even have a boat. Nolan has been our house several times, and he is the sweetest friend. We all adore him. Again, when Wyatt asked for him to get on, he said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was towed in. I don't know this girl that he wanted to stay with. I can just tell you, though, my son had nothing to do with it in any way, shape, or form. A matter of fact, he was the first person that noticed he was missing when they got back to their friend's house and called his mother, the Coast Guard, and the sheriff's office. Warren is very responsible and always keeping up with everyone else. He was not on the boat again. Please stop hurting us. My son is beside himself. I've never seen him like this before, and I ask you to please stop the blame. This is not the boy's fault. Nolan wanted to stay with this girl and was insistent. I ask you to take my picture down off of your wall and my son. I brought my other son out there and I saw my son Warren briefly, and I took a picture that we were not out there with them longer than like 10 minutes. I don't know how you're trying to link it all together, but I am just Warren's mom, and I love Nolan very much. He comes to my house several times, and I'm so sad. Please keep this down and look for this on prayers finding him. Okay, so she wrote this before Nolan was even found. She said, please keep this down and look for this on prayers finding him. And then she said, I meant low down, not roll down. Also, I just want to let you know, this whole day we have been looking for him. It has been devastating. I don't even know any of this was being said. Mind you, she said this whole day they were looking for him, but according to Warren, they looked for about an hour. Ain't that what he said? They looked for an hour and then they skedaddled? Or am I misremembering? Y'all let me know. How long? He said they got on their buddy's boat the next day to go look for him. But didn't he say they only looked for an hour and then they left? According to his mom, she said that they was looking all day. Okay? But anyways, she said, also, I just want to let you know, this whole day we have been looking for him. It has been devastating. I don't even know any of this was being said. I have friends with taking pictures of these messages. I am going to get off social media. I was advised, as this is very destructive. I just ask you please take it down, as I don't want us to get any more messages about this. And then the guy said, hi, Katie, has any of this been told to, and I think he meant law enforcement, along with the description of the girl that he allegedly stayed behind for? And she deactivated her page. And so, as I stated, he shared this on July 6th, okay? So as you can see, this was posted on July 6th, and this was reposted on his page at 8:35 a.m., and she made this the night before when he hadn't even been found yet, and she gave us all of these details about the last time that her son seen him was at 5, yada yada yada. Well, after she did these posts, then Judge Ashley Cole made a very like a much more refined and specific post where she talked about how they were getting these death threats and how she was scared for her kids and how Warren saw Nolan at 3 p.m. Okay. And so I shared that with you guys also. So this isn't new to you guys as well. Let me see where that is at. All right. So 2 days after, so they're saying that message was sent on July 5th, right? So then July 7th, there was this more refined post from Ashley, right? So let's read through this and then we'll go back to the give, send, go. All right, so let me find this so I could blow it up. But to me, a lot of this stuff is, anyways, never mind. So this is what Ashley Cole said July 7th at 7:15 p.m. All right. She says, our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son Warren loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Yes, I deactivated my Facebook given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now. I fear for the safety of my child and my children. My husband and I have 6 children, and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. I graduated high school with Christine Wells Wansley. We are from the same community. I have the utmost respect for her and all the Wells family. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with them. And then she goes in to be deceptive by saying, my husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on July 4th. So at this point, people didn't know that she was just the stepmom, right? Not everybody saw Katie had wrote the other blog. So other people are like trying to figure out, like, okay, his mom went to the island. She brought the younger brother there, blah, 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 blah. So she goes and says, my husband and I were not on the island at any point. But she omits the fact that his biological mother said that she went and she brought Warren's younger brother. Okay. So it was deception by omission, because she makes the statement because she knows that some people know that the bio mom had went there. But to try to discredit the Black blog, there was deception by omitting that she's the stepmom and the person that reached out to the Black guy is the bio mom, and the biological mom is the one who went to the island. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, so she says, my husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on the 4th of July. And then she says, no one in our family is trying in any way to impede with the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. And then she says, Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There were no nefarious motivations in my deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives, yada, yada, yada. So she had her social media deactivated. The mom was told, remember, in the bio mom, to deactivate her social media, etc. So now let's go to the give. Oh, wait. And also, before we go over the give, send, go, we also talked about how she came forward and she said that there were these threats that was made to her, right? Like people were threatening her. It was her privacy, right? So the first arrest that we saw in anything related to the case or people involved was an arrest for threats made to the judge. Again, I feel like this is pushing signals, okay? All of this stuff is certain signals that they're letting people know how they're rocking. We see who they align with. We see who gets the protection. And we also see how the news media operates, right? So there was these articles that stated a California man was arrested over Nolan Wells' death threats against the judge, right? And none of the articles showed the photo of the man arrested. I went from page to page to page to page, and the only way that I got the photo of the guy who got arrested was because Gerald from the NC Beat looked on to Megan's All, the SA registering, and looked up his name and was able to find his picture. They didn't post his picture on any of these sites. But there has been another arrest. And through this website, and we'll just go through, they have, a California man is in custody, it was for the threats to the judge, whatever. They didn't show his picture. I got his picture because, like I said, Gerald from the NCB, he sent me the picture, but this is not on the website. When we looked, if they updated it, then they updated it, but from when we were looking, none of this was on there. But there's been another arrest. And I was like, I find it convenient that this next arrest, hold on, let's share this real quick. So WLOX and all of the other sites, right? They are now reporting that there's another arrest, okay? So it says, a Cincinnati woman charged after making bomb threats to multiple government offices following Nolan Wells' death. And then when you scroll, what's plastered all over their pages? It's like a needle in the haystack trying to see if any of them post the other guy. But, we get this fast. Immediately, we see. So the second arrest, it says, a Cincinnati, Ohio woman faces a federal charge after authorities say she made dozens of bomb threat calls to 2 Mississippi government offices in July following the death of Nolan Wells. Michelle Francine Edwards was charged July 30th, 2026 in the United States District Court of Southern District of Mississippi. It says, according to the complaint, Edwards made 2 sets of calls on July 23rd using a block number. Between 1:34 p.m. and 1:42, the George County Chancery Clerk's Office received 21 calls from a block number. The caller stated, "Do not go outside. The clock is ticking," and Between 2:06 and 2:24, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office dispatch received 8 calls placed using star 67 to mask the caller's identity. The caller said, "Y'all got a bomb outside. Don't come outside, bitch." And later, it says, "Y'all still in there?" The threats triggered a building lockdown and a bomb sweep with canine units. All right, so she got locked up, and I was like, you got to pay attention to how the media shapes it. Now, I don't agree with making bomb threats, okay? Just because you black, I'm not gonna jack that, okay? I'm not gonna get behind and be like, yeah, do that, because I don't agree with that. Don't do that. I'm not jacking that. But I do find it interesting that when the first guy got arrested, you didn't see his mugshot anywhere, and he was an S offender. picture nowhere. Now, it's been a couple days since then, so I don't know if any of the websites have updated it, but that night, you can find his picture nowhere. But immediately when a Black woman was arrested, her page, breaking news, look at this. It fit the narrative, you know? Anyways, I just thought I'd share that. Now, back to the GiveSendGo. So I find it completely disgusting that his friends are using his death for a cash grab. I find it disgusting that they are going to these lengths, and you have family members that are completely able to back your legal fund. However, the first thing y'all do is go here. Now, as I told you, I don't know if they are MAGA. I don't know if they're racist. All I know is I've seen this same playbook by that particular crowd. And when I started to read through the description, I was like, oh yeah, this is signaling to a particular audience that is going to raise this fund to $1 million. Okay. Because they back stuff like that. Like anything against a Black person, it is like a society that funds these things, and they make sure that it's taken care of. So I looked at some of the wording in it, and we'll read through. It says, on Independence Day weekend 2026, lives were changed forever when a group of friends lost their, and I think they're categorizing him as best friends strategically also too, because the way that Warren talks about him, he ain't they damn best friend, period. And best friends, anyways, on Independence Day weekend of 2026, lives were changed forever when a group of friends lost their best friend, Nolan Wells. No family should have to endure the pain of losing his son, and no friend should have to grieve the loss of a brother. But instead of being allowed to mourn, what followed was an unprecedented online campaign of accusations, harassment, threats, and defamation. Since Nolan's death, Warren Hudson, Jax Patalo, Morgan Seymour, which is, and I'm guessing Warren's younger brother, because Katie's last name is Seymour, and many others have been inundated with death threats, threats of violence, and defamation. They have been falsely and wrongly blamed by individuals online and in the media of either directly or indirectly having a hand in Nolan's death. And I'm like, damn, well, don't they got Black friends and Mexican friends also that was targeted and getting death threats? They not a part of y'all fund? Or they got to fend for themselves? Anyway, so it says, most of them could not even attend their own best friend's funeral. Did their mother say they couldn't go? Or did they make a choice? They say, why? Because race baiters sent a deranged army after them online in the name of justice. Since the beginning of the investigation, these young men have cooperated with authorities, turned over all the information they had, and provided an overwhelming number of witness accounts for their whereabouts. Some of them even resorted to speaking up publicly to defend themselves against baseless allegations. But unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter. How is the truth not mattering when we don't know what the truth is. We haven't got a toxicology report. We haven't got any type of police investigative updates. How do we know the truth? What is the truth? Because you said it. Who are you? Your word ain't Bible. Now, could you be telling the truth? Possibly. But how do we know that your truth is the truth? You provided receipts with no metadata. You provided a video, a 5-second video that does not tell us the time of day that it was taken. It shows somebody grabbing a rope or has a rope, but in the photo that you used on the GiveSendGo, that same rope is in this picture. Is the boat being towed here? Because the 5-second video was supposed to be them proving that he wasn't on the boat. And the proof was because we saw this rope. But in this photo, we see the rope too. So, we don't know when that picture or that video was taken. So how are we don't know what the truth is. Now, your truth could be the truth, but what has been provided has not showed us the absolute truth because it's not backed by metadata. It's not backed by any other thing. We seen Nolan go to the island. We didn't see them come back. So there's still all of these things that don't prove anything. It also says, but unfortunately, it has become clear that the truth doesn't matter. We do want the truth. We want verifiable truth. Countless large voices across social media declared them guilty of crimes they could not have committed and have never been charged with. Their names, faces, and personal information were spread across the internet. They and their families have received thousands of hateful messages, death threats, and calls for violence. They have been threatened online and in person countless times. There have been bomb threats, packages sent, and credible threats of which arrests have been made. Parents have feared for their children's safety. Lives have been turned upside down, and some have had to go into hiding. Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media. You see the messaging? We're supposed to believe that they don't see color. We're supposed to believe that they're not racist. But they always have these talking points that racists use, right? Whenever people who don't like Black people, their number one framing of anybody Black is usual suspects, right? They call us the usual suspects. And they frame us or anything that we do as the usual suspects. These are racist talking points. Now, again, I don't know if they are racist, but I find it odd that they chose GiveSendGo, that they are framing the conversation and using language that I've seen patterned on other racist talking points. Okay, if you go on these influencers that are right wing, they frame us go in the comment sections, go under their post. If it's a Black person, it's framed as usual suspects, right? It's riddled through all of them. And if the person who is desperately looking for attention in my comments needs proof, we can do a live reaction of it. Literally, in all their comments, they call us the usual suspects. when talking about Black people on these right-wing conservative racist posts. So again, I don't know if his family is racist, but they certainly are appealing to a particular crowd, and this crowd will make them rich. This crowd will break the bank. And I can't fault them for wanting to maximize the most dollars, okay? Because will the Black community support? Yeah, we'll support. We'll support. But will we support the way they support? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They gonna support, okay? These people, oh, you get to speak in their language? Black people, the usual suspects? Oh, baby, they cashing in. Look at Chud the Builder. Look at all of them who got these funds. I don't know if they're racist, but they're appealing to that crowd. Let's continue. And the people in the comments saying, you're gonna get sued. If they want to sue me for my opinion on recognizing the pattern, child, I'm gonna need y'all to help. Let me give my audience homework. Send me a DM of all of the right-wing conservatives calling us the usual suspects. Send me all of their most popular right-wing conservatives GiveSendGo links. And let's just start collecting the evidence, since they're going to sue me, okay, for my opinion from data that I've seen online. I need y'all to help me start compiling this evidence to support what my opinion is derived from. Anyways, so it says Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the usual suspects of social media personalities, national news media, and local provocateurs continue to invent and spread false narratives and lies with no accountability. This is the typical tactic of Ben Crump and the like. They come to communities like the Gulf Coast under the guise of seeking justice, but it has become painfully clear that their version of justice is stirring division, ruining lives, and then leaving when the money is dried up. We have seen this same pattern time and time again. Most recently during the Carmelo Anthony trial. Now, also during the Carmelo Anthony trial, we saw their parents cash in on 2 GoFundMes, raising almost $1 million. But make no mistake on why they're mentioning Carmelo Anthony, because again, they're appealing to a particular crowd. White ring conservatives, they're speaking their language. They hate Carmelo Anthony, his family, and they hate Black people using crowdfunding the same way they do. They don't have a problem with the Metcalf family using these same fundraising tactics. According to Mike Howard, Carmelo Anthony's lawyer, he said that the Metcalf boys had a history of violence and they had a history of being bullies. There was emails from cheerleaders who had been bullied by them. There was a mention of a racist graffiti that they did, and they didn't care. Also, didn't Austin put his hands on Carmelo Anthony first? Wasn't Carmelo Anthony seated the entire time? Who spoke to him first? Did Carmelo Anthony get in Austin's face? Did Carmelo Anthony stand up from where he was sitting, walk several bleachers up to Austin? Or did Austin get up from where he was and walk several bleachers into Carmelo, who stayed seated the whole time, and put hands on Carmelo? They don't care about the facts. They just care that a black boy can never have the same resources that they do. So when they mention Carmelo Anthony and they frame black people as the usual suspects, they're appealing to a particular crowd. This crowd raises money. They roll in the dough and they support them. No facts needed. Okay? It says, no matter what anyone believes about an ongoing investigation, our legal system exists for a reason. Evidence belongs in the hands of the law enforcement and the courts, and not in online mob campaigns fueled by rumors, edited clips, edited audio, speculation, or misinformation. This must stop. This fund is created for the sole purpose of fighting these individuals. Our goal is simple and twofold. Our first goal is to raise money to defend these friends against incoming wrongful death actions filed by attorney Ben Crump and his team. Our second goal is to fund a robust legal team to sue for the litany of slander and libel being spread by not only Crump, but also many social media influencers, news outlets, and local provocateurs who know better. If litigation becomes necessary, keyword, if litigation becomes necessary, if, mind you, until it comes necessary, we still want your money, even if we don't sue nobody. So, if litigation becomes necessary, this fund will help provide the financial support needed to investigate claims, retain legal counsel, preserve evidence, and hold accountable those who cross the line from expressing opinions into conduct the law may recognize as actionable. In any jurisdiction, we can find them. This is not about silencing legitimate discussions or respectful disagreement. People are free to ask questions and express opinions. This is about drawing the line against defamation, targeted harassment, threats of violence, doxing, intimidation, and coordinated campaigns that destroy lives before the facts are known. We know the risk some of you may feel outwardly supporting Warren, Jax, Morgan, and the others. We understand better than anyone the threats you face. We know that although you know the truth, publicly supporting these young men may cause social discomfort or cancellation. But we also know that you're tired. You're tired of the lies. You're tired of the hate and division. You're tired of judgment before all the facts come out. You're tired of seeing these dividers get away with it time and time again and feeling too powerless or voiceless to stop it. But this is it. This is the moment and the cause that can help make a difference. Not a difference just in these boys' lives, but as a message that we're all tired of the grift. Your donation says that enough is enough. Your donation says that the time of exploiting a tragedy under the guise of justice and leaving a community in ruins after squeezing as much money out of it as possible is over. I wonder if they have an issue with Batum Tatum squeezing as much money as he possibly can. Did they have a problem with him breaking up the interview into all of these different parts and milking it for as much as he could? Or was that grift okay? Because it was curating the narrative that y'all needed. Or do y'all got a problem with the people that you're appealing to milking it? I don't know. Let me know. Because he seemed to pretty much be milking this for all that it was worth. But I found it interesting that when he interviewed the white kid that you guys mentioned in this fund, and then you guys aren't mentioning the black kid, he segmented that one up, and it was all of these cuts and edits. But I noticed how they just dropped the whole interview of the black kid with minimal cuts and edits. And then I read this and the black kid's name is not mentioned. I found it all interesting. You know? Interesting. But anyways, so that's the fund. And as I read in all of those other articles on how in the comment section and the people who support, they say all of these racist things, similar things are in their comments also. Let's look at some of the comments, why don't we? Because they're tired of black people. They're upset. Let's look through some. Stay strong against all the hate and racism that's coming your way. I love you, Morgan, and I'm praying for all of you. Y'all stay strong through this and lean on your faith in God. All right. We are with you until the final bell rings. Stand for the young men. Stand for the community. Stand for those who are next. Stand for tomorrow's kids. Stand for a return to common decency. Stand against the vultures that prey on misfortune and leave a community and families as a carcass. Time to show what this community is about. All right. Let's go to, is this the top donations? Let me go to the most recent. Let's see. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers. As sad as it is to have lost a friend and brother, to be accused of such an awful crime with zero truth behind it is reprehensible. This internet manhunt must stop. Let the law do their jobs. Just as quickly as they can unite for evil, we can unite for good. Keep your heads up. I'm sorry you're going through this. God bless you all. Rest in peace, Nolan. We stand behind you, Warren Hudson. No way this type of stuff should be allowed. We need laws in place to protect us from such racism. Facebook also needs looked into for allowing racism and hatred. I tried reporting comments and Facebook still allowed those comments to stay. We love you, Warren Hudson. What about his brother, Morgan? God will prove the truth. My prayers are with you, with all of you boys. This is so sad that you are all having to go through all of this instead of just being able to mourn your friend. Good luck, boys. I'm praying for y'all. You don't deserve any of this. Keep your faith. The truth will prevail. I hope everything comes out and the truth is brought to light so that y'all can live your lives and that you boys can move on, mourn your friend in peace, and live long, successful lives. anonymous giver, they're gonna live good and successful. You know, y'all, they're gonna live successful lives. Yes, they are. Thanks to you. Praying for you guys. The racism and hate towards you all is so sad. I hope you sue all of those who have brought this on you. All right. And several more of these donations. Okay. I hope this works out for you guys. Don't hang out with Black people. Wait, what? I hope this works out for you guys. Don't hang out with Black people. There's some good ones, which I'm sure Nolan was, but most are grifters. And then you find yourself in the situation you're in. I feel bad for you guys. Oh, Nay. Oh. Oh. Poor Nay. Poor Nay. She doesn't want to hang out with us. Oh, what will we do without people like Nay hanging out with us? What are we gonna do? Nay doesn't want to hang out with us. You know, what's it's so ridiculous the amount of lies that get spread before facts come out anymore. I feel sorry for all involved. Maybe once this is all over, the boys and other friends could have a celebration of life for Nolan. Please keep these young men and their families in your prayers. Lord, surround them with your peace, strength, and protection. Comfort them as they carry both grief and the weight of public scrutiny. May your truth shine through. Hearts be softened, and everyone affected by this tragedy find hope and comfort in you. All right. So these are some of the donations from the most recent. But the person saying don't hang out with Black people, there's tons of that in here. If you just sit and load and load and load and read through, their true feelings about us is all riddled through here. But we're supposed to believe that they like. Never mind. Anyways. So there's that. Also, let's bring that down. So I just wanted to bring y'all that. Now, I also found it interesting that the recent publications from TMZ, right? Me, I'm a blogger, a journalist, independent person. I'm not like a company or whatever, like a TMZ. I'm an independent. But I find it very interesting that anytime there is a headline, they are always playing defense instead of reporting things neutrally, right? Like everything that's being reported is defense. So it's like, what's really going on here? You know what I mean? You can see the way that they shape articles when it is something that is about Christine. And then you can see how they shape articles when it's something around the boys, right? And so several people started to point out how TMZ has been reporting this, how it hasn't seemed like they have been being fair, or all of them, like if there's something that happens and it's like, you know, a positive for Christine, it always seems like there's defense to discredit it. So a YouTuber by the name of Trent Out Loud, he was asked to come onto TMZ to give his thoughts about the case. And he basically called out Harvey and TMZ for making stuff a matter of fact that we don't know for a fact. So let me show you him calling out TMZ. And I thought it was rather interesting. So let me share this page right here. All right. And this is the last thing I'm going to show y'all. Then I'm going to be out. So right here it says, YouTuber Trent Out Loud calls out TMZ for bogus one-sided Nolan Wells coverage. Now, on this post, there has been 2,320 comments. There's so many comments, many comments. I can't even keep up with all the comments. Shout out to everybody commenting. But let's look at this.
We've kind of concluded based on video that we received is that Nolan was not on that boat, that's the boat at the beginning of the trip back from Horn Island.
Yeah.
And that Nolan is not on that boat. And that's the boat that went into distress a few minutes after leaving Horn Island. Nolan was not on that boat.
Hey, this is Trent Out Loud.
Let me restart it again. Hold on, let's turn the audio on. Let's zoom in on it.
We've kind of concluded based on video that we received is that Nolan was not on that boat, that's the boat at the beginning of the trip back from Horn Island.
Yeah.
And that Nolan is not on that boat. And that's the boat that went into distress a few minutes after leaving Horn Island. Nolan was not on that boat.
Hey, this is Trent Out Loud, YouTuber. I think the judge threats and the Benjamin Crump defamation lawsuit is just a distraction. I think it's incredibly telling that a white woman goes out and shows us the threats she's getting, and within days there is an arrest, but there has been zero arrest when it comes to the Nolan Wells case. Do you have any idea how many threats Christine has gotten? How come there's nobody arresting for the people that are threatening her?
Well, no, listen, you first have to determine if there's foul play, right? And I don't know that they've determined that yet. So you don't go out and start arresting people until you know.
All right. So he did not ask why there was arrest in Nolan Wells' case. He specifically asked, why are the threats to Christine not being treated with the same level of urgency as the threats to the judge? What Harvey responds to is why there isn't arrest in Nolan Wells' case when that's not the question that he asked.
A, if there's foul play, and B, who did it. But just because there hasn't been doesn't mean there's not a real investigation behind it.
Agreed. But now let's talk about that picture that you showed up of the boat. We got that picture from Officer Tatum, former Officer Tatum. How do we know when that picture was taken? We have no metadata. We have no proof. How do we know that? And also,
well, no, but what the video? It's not a pic. We're talking about.
Well, he put out pictures and video. But
I know, but the video, we can align the video with the distress call, and he wasn't on that boat.
Yeah, but Harvey, how do you know? Has former Officer Tatum, has he provided you guys with the metadata? Do you know 100% when that video and those pictures were taken? Can you confirm to me right now that it was taken on July the 4th?
That's what we have concluded based on everything we've looked at, metadata, talking to people, and aligning it with the distress call. Yeah. Now, look, anything is possible. I'm certainly not saying it wasn't foul play because I don't know. It's just, I think, jumping to conclusions at the beginning and starting to point fingers at people without really knowing. It may be fair, but what if it's really unfair and you're kind of tarnishing people who really shouldn't be tarnished? Shouldn't that be a concern?
I think if anybody who jumped to conclusions first was the Mississippi officers that jumped to conclusions 1 hour after finding his body and said, no evidence of foul play. They jump to conclusions, not us.
Well, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
They just want the truth.
I think that's fair. I also think there is a spotlight on them right now, and they know they better do a thorough investigation. What we've kind of concluded based on video that we received is that Nolan was not on that boat, that's the boat at the beginning of the trip back from Horn Island.
Yeah. All right. And so he's saying that they corroborated this with the call. Now, we have not seen metadata from this 5-second video. Now, this video, again, that is supposed to corroborate that Nolan was not on the boat is 5 seconds in length. We don't know when it was taken. It was not paired with actual metadata to confirm the time of day that it was taken. Also, we see one boy with the same shorts on from the picture that was with Nolan, but everybody else has different clothes on. Also, again, we don't know when this was taken. Now, I'm not saying that it was not taken on July 4th, but we don't have confirmation that this wasn't taken when Batum Tatum went on his trip with them, because Batum Tatum claimed that they took him along the route. He said in his stuff, he said, I went with the boys to Horn Island. They took me to the places that they docked. All of it, like, we don't know if this is, because Batum Tatum is the one who posted it. We don't know if this was the day that he took them to show the island or if this was on the 4th. We haven't seen metadata. And again, that's not saying that this wasn't on the 4th. We just don't have proof that this was taken when you guys are saying, and it's only 5 seconds. It's not a 10-minute video, 20-minute video, 30-minute, hour video where, we see the movement at 4 o'clock for an hour straight or 20 minutes straight. This is 5-second clip. Like, so somebody said you can extract metadata from the video. Did anyone try? Well, before this video was not uploaded immediately through, like, he put this through an editing software first. So the version that Batum Tatum posted is not the raw clip, because he put his logo on the top. So in order for him to put his logo on the top, he had to put it in a software that allowed him to put his logo on the top of it. So it created a new video. Not saying that the video itself is not authentic to the 5 seconds that it is. I'm just saying that this isn't the raw file that's going to tell us the metadata from this particular upload. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense, right? Like, I'm not saying that the video is fake. It's 5 seconds. What I'm saying is we can't get metadata from a video that's not the original, because this was put through a software so that he can add his logo over the top. Get what I'm saying? So there's that. But anyways, so I just want to come to y'all and tell y'all the latest of what's going on in this case. Also wanted to share my position on it. Now, again, if they want to, get lawyers and do whatever, hey, do what you need to do. However, I just want to make it clear that y'all can tag their lawyers all you want. I'm not afraid of giving my opinion like I do any other time. The same way that I've operated my platform, I'm going to continue to operate it. I've always led with integrity. On my platform, I didn't dox anybody, okay? Everything that I posted about this story was publicly available things that were put out there. the Katie thing was online since July 6th. I didn't put that out there. She reached out to a blogger, and she didn't reach out to them anonymously. She reached out to them from her page. I never put out Warren's brother's name because we didn't get the name until just now. They put it in the GoFundMe. I never mentioned Bart until Bart's lawyer made his official statement. I never mentioned Katie until it was a part of the news. So I have utilized my platform with integrity, and I'm going to continue to do so like I've always done, but I'm not going to shy on my opinion. On other cases, I would kind of, hold back some of my feelings, but this particular case, because they are so intentional on trying to silence people and who they're trying to appeal to, I'm not holding back my opinion, but I will always I will always operate with the same integrity that I do any other time. So if there is any type of lawsuit, hey, I'm willing to go to bat. Okay? And stand on what I believe and what I see and on my opinion. Now, I want to say the other day there was this guy who came up and he had made comments about Batum Tatum, and I quickly took him down. I'm not willing to get sued on what nobody else got to say. I'm willing to go the long haul on my thoughts and opinions, okay? Because other people was like, Nique, why you take him down so fast? Because when he started to talk, it sounded a particular way. And I'm not gonna get sued for nobody else. If I get sued, it's gonna be because I said it. It's gonna be because it's my opinion. It's gonna be because of me. Okay? I'm not getting sued on behalf of nobody else. But I'ma stand on what I believe. And I'ma stand on how I feel. In this climate, they are very bold and brazen, and it is clear who and what is the appeal. And you don't send a message that you are a friend group, that you love Black people, and you're not racist, and you run to a conservative, self-hating Black person for your interview. Then you go to a platform that is known to platform racist, and then you use messaging and talking points that the racists use by saying usual suspects and the framing that you did. Now they could be upset with Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. That's fine. But using certain language, you can't make me believe that you actually loved Nolan. You may have tolerated him. He may have been a tag-along as you described him. You didn't say he was a tag-along, but your description sounded very tag-along-ish like. It was always a separation from your friend group and then Nolan. So you can't make me believe that you actually loved him, actually cared for him, and that there was no color lines. Because if you actually did have a heart that you're trying to make us believe, you would call out Ben Crump, but you would do it in a way that didn't show an appeal to a particular crowd. So I stand on that. And again, hey, boop-de-doop-de-doop. On that note, I gotta go. I stayed way too long. Okay. I stayed way too long on this video. It was not supposed to be this long, but baby, I just felt a particular way because the society that we're in right now, the framing the way that things are happening, y'all better pay attention. But you also need to support. On that note, talk to y'all later. Bye.